In this following video, we are going to be conducting a sensitivity analysis with the help of an Excel file. As a point of departure, we need to have a cash flow statement. So here we already have the values introduced in a cash flow statement, and of course the values that we are interested in are down here, the net cash flows that are forecasted for a 4-year investment opportunity. We also see that there is an initial investment outlay of minus 60,000 that is indicated here. And so a first step for us would be to, of course, identify whether this would be a good investment opportunity by defining its net present value. In order to do so, we need to know the discount rate. So let's say we work with a discount rate of 10%. We can now easily calculate the net present value by using, once again, the Excel formula, VNA, Valor Neto Actual, for those of you who have a Spanish Excel. Those of you who have an English version of Excel, you can use net present value in your formulator. In your formula here. And so tasa here we have the interest, which would be 10%, so the cell D3, and the values would be the values of our future cash flows from E19, cell E19, up until the 4th year cash flow. Okay, now the value here where it's indicated net present value is not yet the net present value because we have not reflected the initial investment outlay. And so we need to subtract the initial investment outlay. But careful, you see I actually add the cell D19 with our initial investment because I added because it already is a negative value here. Okay, so we see that the net present value is positive, which means this would be a good investment opportunity. Okay, so of course we're interested in conducting a sensitivity analysis, and so what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be creating a second table besides our initial table. In this second table, we're interested in the cash flows, our initial forecasted cash flows and initial investment outlay. So we copy and paste our cash flows here, making sure that we paste the values and only the values, not the underlying formula. Okay, because have a look here, 60,000, but we see that there is an underlying formula, so we don't want to copy the underlying formula. So when we paste our values here, we need to make sure to just be pasting the values. Okay, and so since we will be doing a sensitivity analysis for several values, we actually are going to copy the same cash flows in the next lines. Okay, what we will be doing is we're going to be conducting a sensitivity analysis for the initial investment outlay. We're also going to be then conducting a sensitivity analysis for the 1st year cash flow, for the 2nd year cash flow, for the 3rd year cash flow, and for the 4th year cash flow. Okay, so here I'm actually highlighting the values, the variables for which we will be conducting a sensitivity analysis. And in each row, in each line, you see, well, there's going to be the outcome of that sensitivity analysis. Of course, we need to, again, be working with a discount rate. And let's say we will stick to the initial discount rate of 10% that we had originally indicated up here. Okay, so of course, when we do sensitivity analysis, we conduct the sensitivity analysis, but we always need to have a predefined objective. Okay, and that objective can either be in terms of net present value or in terms of internal rate of return. So for the purpose of this example, we're going to be sticking to the net present value as investment objective. Okay, and so what we can do here now is, once again, we're actually going to repeat what we did before. We're going to be indicating the net present value for each of the rows, where we just once again need to introduce the data and make sure that we subtract the initial investment outlay and Everything is okay. Yes, the net present value is as indicated before down here, 24,897. Okay, since for now all the data is the same in each of the rows, we just can copy and paste the net present value formula, and we see, well, the outcome here for our net present value is also the same. But now the interesting part starts, because now we will be doing the sensitivity analysis. Okay, so by doing a sensitivity analysis, what we need to do is we need to go to the datos or data tab in English. So in English, this would be data. In Spanish, it's datos. And within this tab, we actually go very much to the right, and we see there is a section which is called analysis de hipótesis. In English, this would be what if analysis. Okay, so here we just press on the analysis hypothesis or what if analysis, and here another tab opens, and we actually choose the second option here, buscar objetivo, and in English this would be goal seek. Okay, and so here we actually need to now define the cell which is our objective, where we want to actually include our objective, which we said is the net present value. Okay, and so let's say our objective is going to be, we want to see in which range can the initial investment outlay vary, and we want to make sure that the investment would still be accepted. In terms of net present value, well, this means that the net present value has to be higher than 0. Okay, so up here we define the net present value cell, and here 0, which is our target value. And here, cambiando la celda, here we actually indicate for which cell do we want to conduct the sensitivity analysis. Okay, we accept and we see, well, here we actually get a value of minus 84,897. So if we make sure that our initial investment is not higher, or is not a value that is higher than 84,897, then we actually make sure that this investment is going to be a positive investment. Okay, so with this value, we could actually now put together our interval for the sensitivity of the initial investment outlay. In our next row, we would like to now know, well, what's the sensitivity of the first year cash flow? So again, we go to the data tab or datos, analysis de hipótesis, and our objective now is, again, we want to make sure that we accept the investment opportunity in terms of net present value. Okay, and we want to make sure now that the cell for which we conduct the sensitivity analysis would refer to the first year cash flow. Okay, so this cell here. We accept, and we see that here we would accept a minimum cash flow of 3,532. And for any cash flow that is higher than this cash flow, we actually would not be interested in the investment opportunity. Okay, so once again, we can identify the interval. Okay, and we could go now on. Let's maybe just do the last one. Here, analysis de hipótesis, buscar objetivo, again, initial investment, and we are now interested in the sensitivity of the fourth year cash flow, and we see we would actually be willing to accept a negative cash flow as long as it's not below minus 4,652. Okay, so this is the minimum cash flow we could accept for year 4 to make sure that the net present value of our investment opportunity is positive. Okay, so here we see, well, we've defined our net present value in terms of accepting or rejecting. But if we have a second investment opportunity and we know the net present value of the second investment opportunity, and so let's say maybe we have a alternative investment that has a net present value of 1,000, and we want to make sure, well, that our investment is either better or worse. Well, then we can actually do a sensitivity of the second year cash flow here, and we see, well, as long as we don't go below this this value, we would actually, well, maintain the preference order or not maintain the preference order, depending on what the initial objective was in terms of 1,000. okay, in terms of the alternative. Okay, and so what we can do now is we can actually, I think, format this to make it look a little bit nicer. And we could also make sure that here we have monetary units. And now we could even well say that we want to make sure to represent the negative values maybe in red. No, so we can do a formatting of these different cells. So I hope that this was a good demonstration on how to conduct sensitivity analysis. I'm just going to write for those of you who have an English Excel. So the commandos would be the data tab, then the what if analysis corresponds to analysis de hypothesis, and the last one would be goal seek, which would be within the analysis de hypothesis buscar objetivo. Okay, I hope this was useful and thank you very much for your attention.